This is Megami. Thank you very much for watching our special workshop today. So we are talking about one of the fastest growing types of ramen noodles. We call, that's called Iekei Ramen noodles, which is originated in Yokohama City of Japan, right? And then the reason we are talking about this today is that a lot of more and more customers started asking us how to make this unique ramen noodles. Noodles themselves are unique in that they are made like in the kind of shaped like in an unconventional way that than normal regular type of ramen noodles are made. So we wanted to talk about them. Then we wanted to actually explain and show how these noodles are made, right? From on our Richmond Gold One machine, or using Richmond Gold One machine because this machine is designed to make this type of noodles, which may be hard to make like in certain like conventional ramen noodle machines. And then I'm going to explain the reason later in the slides I prepared, right? So I'm going to go over some slides prepared to explain what the Iekei Ramen noodles are. And then we're going to show you guys how this type of noodles are made on the Japan Gold One machine. So let me go through some slides. And then, so Iekei Ramen noodles. Well, basically, Iekei Ramen noodles is basically what we call reverse cut noodles. And then I'm going to talk about why it's called reverse cut later. But before, I want to go over this slide, with this chart, like familiar chart. Like I think to some of you, like this chart is very familiar because we've been using this chart, to describe different types of noodles, right? So basically, hydration level, that determines the hardness with the noodles, right? And then protein content of flour that's used to make these noodles, right? Basically, higher protein, the harder the noodle texture, and then noodle sizes, right? Thinner, the softer, bigger, the harder. So, in this chart, right, you see that there's a conventional pasta machines plotted, right? Then you can see that conventional pasta machines are capable of making noodles that are in 30%, 32%, and 36% hydration ratio, right? The original one machine is very, very flexible in that way that it's capable of making noodles that are 25% and 45% hydration ratio. So that includes low hydration ratio noodles, the thin and hard noodles, tonkotsu noodles, then mid-level hydration noodles, the conventional fresh pasta, and then Iekei Ramen noodles we're talking about today. Then udon noodle, tukemen noodles, high hydration level noodles. And kind of showing you guys like how different these doughs are, right? Different level, hydration level. 25% like pretty dry. Then to mid hydration level, 33%. Somewhat dry, but kind of getting wetter. Then 40% and 45%. So kind of see how different, how dramatically different like these the condition dough be from low to high hydration ratio. And then of course, the higher the hydration, the noodle size tends to be bigger, right? And then the lower the hydration, the noodle size tends to be smaller because harder the hydration, right? I mean higher the hydration, softer. Then, but if we make like thinner noodle, right, thin noodle, then that's not gonna give you good noodle texture because it's not gonna have good bite, right? So the lower the hydration that makes that noodle harder. So we tend to make the noodles smaller size because thin and hard noodles are better than hard and thick noodles, right? So hydration wise, and then the dough size, then noodle size, there's a tendency of the relationship between the hydration ratio and the noodle sizes. Having said that, so well, when we make ramen noodles, we typically go through this kind of process. We first, make a dough, right, from a mixer, and then we want to feed it to the roller, set of rollers, right, to make a sheet of dough that's still fragile, right? We call this process called rough forming. And then we want to separate this weak dough sheet into two, right? And then combine them through this set of rollers, right, to make it stronger. And then repeat this process like a couple times. And then finally we cut it, right? And then we use this kind of cutter, we call a slither cutter. And then so the width of the dough, width of noodles is controlled by the cutter size, right? Cutter size is fixed. In this example, each groove is 1.3 millimeter width, right? But like thickness is controlled by the roller gap of the machine. So it's something like you want to remember for later. And then so we have different sizes, different shapes of these slither cutters. So depending on the types of noodles we're making, we use different cutters, different sizes, different shapes. And then these are three typical sizes, basic shapes that we have for this slither cutter, and the square, round, edgy, right? But for Iekei ramen noodles, we're using this kind of special slither cutter that's called like deep groove cutter. It's basically a square shape, but like has a deeper kind of grooves, right? In them, right? So, well, because reverse cut like Iekei ramen noodles is, thickness is bigger, right? And the width is than the width, right? So we need to be able to like cut, this dough into more thicker noodles than the width, right? So it needs to have like bigger, deeper groove, right, to be able to cut them into like kind of thicker shape, right? And as you can see in this picture, you may be able to check the width, right? Check the width. Width is pretty small, like compared to thickness. So when you are checking the noodle size, you want to see the like smooth surface, right? To look at the width, right? But then to measure the thickness, you want to be looking at the rough surface. That's what that's cut surface. And then to make reverse cut noodles, we are cutting the dough, right? That's thicker than the cutter, the width that we are using to cut it, right? So, for example, like 3.5 millimeter thickness, and then in this example, like that's number 20 cutter, 1.5 millimeter width. So, it's a large thickness area that it has, right? And then so, well, when you're cutting this type of noodle, right? We not only we have to have like this kind of special slither cutter, deep groove cutter, but also we need to have noodle machine that's kind of designed to kind of cut this type of like kind of tough noodle, because when we're cutting this type of dough, it's gonna have like very heavy load on the cutter and the machine itself too, because this cutter is like driven by the machine's gear, right? And then if you're cutting with this kind of noodles, like conventional ramen noodle machines or like conventional pasta machines, these gears like would give up, after for short period of time, like cutting this kind of noodle. So we want to have like kind of stronger mechanism, and then to process this type of noodles. So Wishbone Gold one has that, and then it's designed to cut this type of noodle, Iekei ramen noodles. So it's important to have kind of proper structure, proper mechanism in this noodles to be able to like cut Iekei noodles. Another thing I want to touch on right before is that like getting the right noodle texture. So to get the perfect or like very good noodle texture, we want to think about when we cook these noodles, right? So because when we cook these noodles, the noodles shrink inwards, right, on the sideways. So because the width, right, is a smooth surface, but thickness is that rough surface, whether it's cut by this slither cutter. So that's where the soup and boiling water, cooking water, you get absorbed, right? So then the noodle gets kind of shrink like sideways, right? And then kind of after we cook them, the noodle cross section is like kind of shaped like like a square with that like four sides dented inwards. So we kind of follow this rule, like kind of cross section ratio thickness by width, like 1 to 1.6 ratio. And then, but reverse cut noodles, right, kind of goes against this kind of conventional rule, and then it kind of completely ignores this method, right? And then so thickness has like way larger area than the width, right? And then so it has a large area of like where like soup and boiling water gets absorbed, so it gets cooked, get cooked faster, and then will get kind of soggy faster as well. But like it this type of noodle like absorb like soup with more soup. So when you bite into this noodle, right, you taste more soup. And then yeah, that's kind of what the Iekei Ramen noodles about. And then so it kind of like this like the ratio, cross sectional ratio, like but to have a good noodle texture, but well, so kind of trade off between like having more soup in the absorbing noodles, or like and then losing that good noodle texture. So that's what the Iekei noodles, ramen noodles, and then so. But allow me to just spend a few minutes like talking about Richmond Goal 2, Richmond Goal 1, right? And then that's great for micro noodle factory machine as a micro noodle factory machine, and then that's capable of making the Iekei ramen noodles. Then a lot of like it's been very popular ramen machine over the past few years because of these three reasons, right? Ease of use, versatility, and then it has this built-in noodle making technology inside that makes the noodle production easier. So ease of use like has automatic feeding system. So once you place the dough right in the conveyor, right, it just does the rest of the process automatically. Then it has this all this sensing capability that like measures how much dough is going into the roller, right? So well, in conventional machine, you would have to feed the dough right by hand, and then so you would have to know okay how much you need to feed like at the time, but because Richmond Go One knows like how much dough is going in by measuring the amount of dough that's being fed. It can regulate the speed of the conveyor to carry the appropriate amount of dough into the roller at the time, right? Then another thing is that like noodle conveyor, right? This is a conveyor that carries the noodles out of the machine. Then so usually someone would have to like catch the noodles, right, and then place them into the container, right, one by one. Then but this kind of job task like it's pretty heavy on the worker because in conventional noodle machine, like this point right of the catching noodles like is set like pretty low right from the ground. In which we go to 65 centimeters high from the ground, right? Set. So instead of catching the noodles like at the low point, you can just put a regular chair in the front of it, then you can just sit on it and then catch the noodles like with comfort, right? So it's very easy on your workers, especially in the back. It also has this like control touch panel that that makes the operation of this machine like pretty easy, right? You see the roll gap, as I said, the roll speed. You can pretty much see everything that's going on, in the machine, right, during operation. So, and you can even that when there's something wrong, right, you can even diagnose the problem on this touch panel. So it makes the operation of the machine very easy, and then allows anyone to operate the machine, right? And then versatility is another thing that makes Richmond One kind of special and then easy to use. Including Iekei Ramen that we can make right in this machine, and then especially like hydration range that we talked about, like this Richmond One is capable of doing. Um, so why is it has like wide range of hydration that Richmond One can cover, right? From low to high, that you know conventional, for example, like past machines are not capable of doing, right? Then challenge versatility, right? So the variety of ingredients that the Richmond One can work with is capable of working with, right? So this machine has the mixer, right? 10 kilograms mixer. It's called silky mixer, and then it's designed to hydrate the dough very well, and then condition the dough to optimize the condition of dough, right? And so by adding this like flavoring ingredients in the mixing process, it's very easy to for you to make variety of to work with a variety of ingredients, and then make this like colorful and dough like kind of with the different flavors. So that's the versatility part, and then Richmond One, right, has the built-in noodle making technologies in it, like so. I talked about a lot of sensors installed in this machine. Richmond One, allows to like optimize the gluten development, right? So when we are working on the dough, right, it's like if you're doing like manually, it's it tends to like damage the gluten, damage the dough, right? But it has this like well we know that that Vision Goal One knows that appropriate roller gap that for certain phase of the production. So you can tell, and then it can regulate the roll speed, right, and the effective dough development, and then like when the dough is like fully developed, then they can go fast to be efficient and more productive, right? So you don't have to know like all these formulas, and then but Richmond Gold knows, so you just rely on the Richmond Gold One to do the proper noodle production for your Iekei ramen noodles, and then so Richmond Gold One's just being like very popular, for these reasons, ease of use and then versatility, and then built-in noodle making agent techniques. And so but just talking about it and showing you guys like how this Richmond Gold One, how these machines work, right, is great, right, remotely online, but it's nothing better than actually going to the for example showroom, right, where we have this machine for you guys to experience, like work with, operate. So we have for those before watching from United States, we have a showroom in Houston, Texas, right? And then we have a special workshop coming up later this month on 27th and 28th. It's this special workshop is great. We are going to make noodles right from scratch, and then we're going to talk about how these variety of noodles are made right from scratch, and then we can share our noodle making expertise. Then the best of all, you can actually get to taste, right, all these noodles like made from scratch on these machines. And then of course other than this special workshop, right, you can definitely get appointment for your private demos, right, private demos like private consultation sessions at this workshop. the showroom in Houston, Texas. Then yeah, so we can probably walk on the flowers that you want to use, like that you can get like from local mills, right? To make your own crop noodles and stuff. So there's a lot of values, by you can get by coming to these workshops and the private demo showrooms. And then we have another one like in Amsterdam, Netherlands. For the people watching from Europe, right? So we have a special workshop. The 20. I guess from now, like it is 20th and 27th chances. And of course, like private demos. We've been doing like a bunch of these. So please, think about coming. And then, yeah, and then we are broadcasting, talking about this out of our Yamato HQ headquarters in Kagawa, Japan, right? Then, yeah, so we have 2 days special workshop coming up on 21st and 22nd, right? So this is a very special workshop that we are planning, and then we're going to provide lots and lots of values, right? 21st, we are going to focus on the ramen, one day, like the whole day on ramen, because the Kagawa being the home to Sanuki udon, that's the most famous udon in the world. The 22nd, we're gonna focus entire day on udon, right? So that's so much value that you can get out, like by participating in 2 day event, and then you can also get to talk with Miss Fuji, who's pretty much like a noodle guru in this industry, right? So yeah, then but these events like have a limited number of seats, right, for available. So there are pages set up, so for you guys to sign up for your seat, right? First come first serve. So like please consider coming, and then go to our website yamatonoodle.com, and then go to the page and sign up for seat today. So all right, I think yeah, now talk, and then start making some Iekei Ramen noodles. Richard Gold one is equipped with 10 kilogram mixer. Then I talked about like what's called Siluki mixer, and then it has this very unique structure that allows the for hydration, kind of optimized hydration for noodle dough, and then has this lid, right? That we can close, and then has these holes, right? The small holes, and then again, like touch panel, just set the timer, right, for 1 minute. Then while it's mixing, we want to dissolve out this salt and tansy, right, to water. Then so salt and tansy, and then that's 4 kilograms, right? And then this is liquid. This liquid, we talked about hydration ratio, and then this particular recipe of this version of Iekei Ramen noodles is 33%. So just 33% of liquid to the weight of the flour, right? So then so just 1 minute of mixing, right? Like nothing in it, like just the solid ingredients, right? And then we set the timer for 4 minutes first, and then start adding this liquid, right? And then the liquid is dripping through these small holes, right? Small holes. So kind of limiting the amount of like liquid being added to the flour, so that for kind of gradually kind of mixing them up, right? the liquid and solid to render good hydration with dough. The total mixing time is 10 minutes, but we don't want to just keep watching the mixer for another 10 minutes. So yeah, make me prepare this dough right in advance. So you can check the condition of dough. I think it's how 33% hydration dough is supposed to look like. Not too big. The dough size like crumble dough, like they're not too big, like not too small. But like 33%, so like kind of dry in a drier side of medium hydration noodles. Then so what we do is that like we just switch it on, right? The the roller, and then so go one just starts working, right? Just feeding the dough to the roller, right? And it's pretty much automatic from there. Um, so the machine knows, right, by with the sensors, um, how much dough is like getting fed to the roller, right? The red light that that's kind of measuring the dough. And then so like if the dough is like getting too much dough is going in, the go one stops the conveyor, right? We don't want the any more dough, right, to be fed, right, at a time. And then if there's no enough dough, right, and being fed to the roller, then the retrieval one moves the conveyor to feed the dough, right? So it's all automatic, and so you don't have to do anything at this point. So but the initial roller gap, right, like 1.5 millimeter, and then so currently, yeah, what this process was rough foaming, so we're just making rough sheet of dough, right, at 1.5 millimeter roller gap. So the next process, as we went through, right, is combining process. So combining process is pretty vital in making good noodle dough, right, with a noodle texture. So we basically what we are doing is that like we are separating it, right, separating this rough sheet of dough into two. Then you're gonna feed them, right? You're gonna feed them to the roller to basically strengthen it, combine them to into like one sheet of dough, right? So that's how we sort of like walk the dough. You know, um, this is equivalent to like walking a muscle. So again, like once you set the dough, you can just let it go, right? And then the return goal one does the rest of the process for you, right? You don't have to do anything. Yeah. So if you do this combined process, and then if we don't do this combined process, like, well, that's gonna make a big difference in noodle texture. It's basically if you don't do this process, right, if you don't combine the dough, you know the noodle texture wouldn't be there. Like it's going to be like kind of fragile, weak noodle texture. Yeah, so we should. Yeah, so we want to do this process, like combined process, like at least once, right? but most of the time, like in most cases, like twice, because we found out that like through trial and error, like and then through like some experimentations, we found out that like well, how many times do we need to do combined process with the best noodles texture, and then what we found out was like two times to combine them twice, right? We produce the best noodle texture. Yeah, we did like three times, four times, five times, but like they doing it more than two times, didn't change the result for the better. So yeah, so we'll do it twice normally. So after combining process, right, for the second time, it's the dough is complete, right, fully developed. So we'll just do the thinning, just do the thinning, and then from this point on, like we want to start dusting. Um, we're gonna start dusting to well, keep it from sticking, of course. Then so we're gonna start dusting, right, and then 2 millimeter roll gap. Yeah, so original goal one is like moving faster from this point on. So roller speed can be adjusted, and then after second combining process, we go going faster just to you know just for higher productivity. And we want to measure the thickness. It's this 2.8. 2.8. After it goes like 2.0 millimeter round gap, it's 3.8. So it bounced back by 0.8, which is normal. Basically harder than rotation, right? The more it the bigger the difference between the roll gap we set and then actual thickness of the dough. And then so we're gonna cut it, right? You're gonna cut it, and again, this is the cutter. So the cutter, we talk about deep groove, right? Deep groove cutter. See each of the grooves is deeper than the regular square cutter. Yeah, so this is very thick dough, right? It's very thick dough, and then again, like to be able to cut it right smoothly, and then without any uh, wear, right? Yeah, conventional ramen noodle machines, may break, right? In a short period of time, like we, keep cutting this type of kind of like thick dough. But original one has this like pretty big gear, like driving, kata, sweeter kata driving gear, right? So you can withstand this heavy load, right? So it's very smooth, and then yeah, Iekei ramen noodles are coming out, and then again, like thickness is bigger than the width, right? And then again, like it's very comfortable. Just sitting in a chair, right, and they catch the noodles, right? So then the noodles, when the noodles coming out, like they're very visible. So I think it's a good idea for you to like kind of show it, show how you make your noodles right from scratch to your customers, and then check out the size, right? So we're checking the width, smooth surface, right? 1.8. Then rough surface, the thickness, almost like 0.93. Yeah, so that's a pretty thick noodles, you know, for that, width. And so there are many different variations of this Iekei ramen noodles, but like then some ramen shops like go for like kind of extreme version, and then like they want to go as big the thickness that they want for very small width, right? Yeah, but this is kind of like kind of regular ratio of width and thickness for Iekei ramen noodles, and then yeah, so that's how you make Iekei ramen noodles, from scratch. But yeah, you can go. You can definitely like kind of go for like different thickness, like different width to thickness ratios, and then that's gonna give us like well different noodle texture, and then different sort of like because like the bigger the thickness, the more noodles absorb the water and the soup, right? So I think the I shorter the time the noodles get soggy in the soup, right? So I think you want to balance out that these variables and the results, right? To have your like sort of ideal Iekei ramen noodles. Of course, like other variables like the flour you use, right? And then probably currency percentage, then type of currency you use and stuff too. And then hydration ratio a little bit too. Um, so there are many variables you can work with to create your own Iekei ramen noodles. So it's very complex, but it's kind of fun to kind of explore and find your own Iekei ramen noodles. But if you want to make your own Iekei ramen noodles, we recommend that you use this like deep groove cutter, right? And then ideally like original one, but that's for the I guess like next thing. But this Friday, coming Friday, we're gonna do the mazemen noodle soupless ramen noodles. This is another type of ramen noodles that's been like on the rise, getting popular across the world. And then a lot of our customers like asking us like, oh, how can we make mazemen noodles? So on Friday, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do not only the noodles, but also we do like we're gonna show you well probably one type of mazemen dish, right? From scratch. So yeah, please stay tuned, and then we have a space set up for this workshop, right? For this Friday. So please go to our website, noodle.com, and then sign up for seat. Then you get the notification, stuff like that. So please do that. And then for those in-person events as well, real events, one in Houston, Texas, and then another one in Amsterdam, right, Netherlands, and then another one in Kigali, Japan. So please go to our website and sign up for these events as well. So yeah, that's it for this workshop. And then thank you so much for watching. And then we hope to see you guys back in the next workshop. So thanks so much. Bye-bye.